Grigor Dimitrov has just revealed on Instagram that he has tested positive for the coronavirus. The Bulgarian said, "Hi everyone, I want to reach out and let my fans and friends know that I tested positive back in Monaco for COVID-19. I want to make sure anyone who has been in contact with me during these past days gets tested and takes the necessary precautions. I am so sorry for any harm I might have caused. I am back home now and recovering. Thanks for your support and please stay safe and healthy." Now, even before this announcement, it was clear that Grigor was off yesterday in his 4-1, 4-1 loss to Borna Coric and Zadar. After the match, Grigor gave a statement addressing his poor form, saying, "Thank you for all the messages and attention I received. I want to say that I will be fine. This is a consequence of physical effort and exposure to the sun in the past few days, and I will have to miss the last dance Zadar. I thought it would be fair to give up my place to a great young player to whom this will surely mean a lot." However, we now know that it was not the physical effort and exposure to the sun, rather he was infected with COVID-19. Now, Grigor isn't the first tennis player to test positive for the coronavirus, as Brazilian Thiago Seyboth announced back in March that he was positive. Additionally, Novak Djokovic came in contact with Serbian basketball player Nicola Yankovic, who later tested positive for the virus. Because of Grigor's announcement of his positive test, the Adria Tour has officially called off the Zadar Grand Finale between Novak Djokovic and Andrei Rublev. Also, apparently everybody involved with the Djokovic-Rublev final is having coronavirus tests back at the hotel after Grigor tested positive. I fear for literally all the players and spectators involved with the Adria Tour in both the first and second legs. Not only did they have a kiss day with many people in his proximity last week, but these pictures were taken over the past few days. Soccer, basketball games, and clubbing aside, I feel for Borna Coric, who played and came in contact with Grigor yesterday in the match. Now, naturally, people were calling out Novak Djokovic as this is his event, plus he defended it despite all the backlash. American player Mitchell Kruger subtweeted Novak saying, "Stellar leadership, #if you know you know." Also, Hall of Famer Andy Roddick sarcastically said, "Apparently there's a pandemic." On the Tennis Legends podcast, Novak said, "I know there have been some criticisms, as well as especially coming from the West. Why do we have a crowd? Why not having social distancing? What is going on, and why are they having this kind of event in the midst of a very hard pandemic in the West? But it's hard to explain to people that the situation is really, really different maybe in America or the UK than it is in Serbia or surrounding countries. And obviously, from the day one of the organization of the Adria Tour, we have been following the rules and measures that have been regulated by obviously the government institution and the public health institution. We have never crossed those lines, so we always waited for them to give us a green light whether we could or could not have the crowd, and then we asked them once we could have, how much we could have, whether there was social distancing or not. So we have been through all those processes, and the result of it all is amazing." I understand what Novak is saying, and that things aren't as bad in Serbia as compared to, quote, the West. However, this pandemic has not gone away whatsoever. People, even in Serbia, are still contracting and dying from this virus. Now, Nole says that everything was done in compliance with the guidelines in Serbia, and if it truly was, I'm looking at the Serbian government sideways for even allowing this event to go on like this. Their lack of enforcing any true social distancing guidelines gave Novak the confidence to hold the event as if we were in normal times. Of course, Djokovic's diehard fans came to the 17-time major champion's defense, many saying that the incubation period to contract the virus is 14 days. Now, this isn't necessarily true at all, as the World Health Organization says that the average incubation period is on average 5 to 6 days, but can be up to 14 days. Some more defenses of Novak are that in between the Belgrade and Zadar legs, Grigor went to Bulgaria, where numbers are steadily rising. Now, to come back to who really deserves the most blame, I believe that it's divided in multiple areas. I first believe the Serbian government is greatly responsible for allowing an event of this magnitude to commence without any true social distancing guidelines. Yes, the pandemic is more detrimental to the West, but it's detrimental nonetheless. I don't blame Novak too much, because while he could have been more precautious regardless of what the government said, the players themselves knew the risk of participating and engaging in all these risky activities. This is mostly on Grigor for failing to be extra careful with his health, and unfortunately, his carelessness could put many others at risk. I know many people are taking this positive test and saying that the US Open shouldn't go on, but it's completely different. The US Open won't have kids' days, nightclubs, basketball games, and soccer games. They won't have crowds full of spectators, and as far as I'm concerned, there will be extensive measures put in place to ensure the players' safety. Regardless of how Grigor contracted the virus, the Adria Tour should have never been held like this with no caution for human health and outside circumstances. I hope Grigor gets better and that everyone around him stays healthy. Who do you feel is to blame for Grigor's positive test? Should Novak receive some of it? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below and subscribe and click the notification bell so you're notified whenever we post new content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time here on Grand Slam Tennis News Today.